Hey YouTube, what's going on? Um, I originally thought I'd try and pace my videos a bit, just because it seemed like a good idea, but I'm keen to get stuck into it, and the last video really was just a little intro. So here is my first proper video, and I'm going to talk about getting the working holiday visa for Japan. Now, there are there are certainly quite a few other videos about this subject, but I haven't actually been able to find any by an Australian. And maybe there is, I don't know, let me know if you know of any. Um, and it's probably not really that different, but I thought it would be good just to write about my experience getting one from Australia, for any other Australians out there who might be going through this. So, there's a bunch of forms, bits and pieces you've got to get together and then make your application. The first one you need is just the general uh, form. You know, your name, your date of birth, yada yada, details, that kind of thing. Passport number. They recently updated it. I brought in an outdated form because they'd updated it a month before I made my application. But you can download it online, or they just gave me one at the embassy. And it is a bit more up to date. It had a few things on there that I didn't have on my original form. One of which was any other citizenships I might have, and I do happen to have dual citizenship. I'm also a Canadian citizen due to my mother being Canadian, but that wasn't an issue. Canadians, I believe, can get the visa anyway, but I was applying as an Australian citizen and it was irrelevant. So that form, I don't think I need to talk too much about that. Relatively straightforward, no big issues. Some of the other stuff they ask for, though, is a flight itinerary. I was a bit concerned about that because my plans are still kind of a bit up in the air as to exactly when I'm going, but I wanted to apply now and get it all sorted sooner rather than later. So I was a little concerned they might not give me the visa if I didn't actually have a booked flight, which I don't. So I called them up. So this is something you can do. I called them up. They were very helpful. I had a few questions and they answered all of them. And the man at the embassy assured me that so long as you can provide evidence of sufficient funds, then that's okay. You have to show that, I think, for one person in Australia, you have to have about $2,500. But then on top of that, if you haven't got a ticket, you've got to have enough funds to show that you can afford a ticket as well. And I'm not going to tell you how much money I've got, but I had enough that it was obvious I could buy a plane ticket too. So that wasn't an issue at all. Oh, another thing as well is on the form there is a section, on the general application form, there is a section that says your guarantor or reference in Japan. Now you don't need to fill this out. The visa application form is a general visa application form. It's not a specific working holiday visa application form. So people who are applying for this visa often aren't likely to have even been to Japan at this stage. So, how are they going to have a guarantor in Japan? But it still made me feel a little nervous leaving blank spots on my visa application. But it really is fine. It's not an issue. They assured me of that, and it was fine. I got my visa. So, no issues there. What else do you have to put in? You need a resume, a CV, and that's pretty easy. It it doesn't have to be, a really professional resume. Mine mostly has work in hospitality because that's what I've done to pay my way while I studied at university. Um, but I had a couple of things on there as well from when I was in Japan on exchange, and I had a couple of little part-time jobs. What did I do? Tutoring a little boy just in his private family home, and also I helped out at a seniors class in a community centre, and I got both those jobs through the university. So I had those on there, but I don't think you even really need that kind of stuff relating to Japan. It's basically just to show, I think, that you're not a complete slacker. I guess having some sort of employment history is probably useful, um, and also academic history, because um, I'm not sure if you need a degree to get a working holiday visa, but I have. I probably should check that before this movie. But anyway, also you need a written statement as to why you want this visa. Um, and it's not too hard. It's about a page long, is good. That's what I found out from my research, anyway, from other people's experiences, and that's what I wrote. And if you truly want to go, then you shouldn't have a problem writing about this. I just talked about my personal passion for speaking Japanese, how I've studied Japanese for a long time, and how being in Japan really is the best way to improve. Um, I talked about the freedom that a working holiday visa gives you to travel. Last time I was in Japan, I was on exchange, so I was quite tied down um, with study, in the one place. So only on holidays and stuff could I actually get anywhere. Talk about your interests, talk about places you want to see. Another very important component of the application is an itinerary. Now, this can seem a bit daunting, but you really don't have to write that much. The purpose of this, I think, is just to show that you've thought about it, that you're not just thinking, oh, it'd be cool to go to Japan. Yeah, why not? Chuck in an application. Um, they want to see that you have places you want to see in Japan. You have a genuine interest. It's divided into a 6 month period. You can renew the working holiday visa for a further 6 months down the line, but originally you just get a 6 month visa. And they don't give you much space at all to write. This is the form, 1 page. It's a very flexible thing. You don't have to write one place per month. I've written multiple places in each month because I'm not necessarily going to spend a whole month in the same place. And then in there, you've got to write, it's got holidaying activities, and you just write things you're interested in doing. I wrote about places I want to visit. I did quite a bit about foods I want to eat because I love trying weird, crazy things. So I looked at site-specific foods, regional specialties, and put those in. I mentioned I have friends I want to visit in certain places. And it also has type of employment intended. And this was another thing I was concerned about when applying for my visa, because down the bottom of this form, it's got a bit, whoops, there we go, section, if you have any details of employment in Japan. And again, it says if, but it just makes me uncomfortable leaving blanks on this kind of application. It doesn't matter. You don't have to have anything for that. For employment intended, I did write some part-time work here and there. Ultimately, in the end, I'd like to get a proper job and transfer over, but don't write about that because they can get a bit iffy about giving this kind of visa to someone who might want to change. It's not illegal. You can change over to a full work visa, but they really want people who want this visa. And I do want this visa, and I am going to use it for travelling around, but don't mention that later on you might want to change it over. Just saying it's an option. So yeah, it's okay to leave that blank. Be creative, do a bit of research, think about things you want to see. Don't just write, I want to go to shopping in Tokyo, or something like that. Find some things that maybe other people wouldn't have written, some interesting places, some obscure places. So there's that, and that's about it, really. You do have to write probable date of entry and stuff like that. But again, as I said, I don't have an itinerary, and it's probable. They're not going to take your visa away if you don't go to Japan at that time. It's valid for up to a year, and then when you enter Japan, it starts counting down the 6 months that you get initially. Also, the itinerary, you don't have to follow that either. They're not going to chase you up for not being where you said you'd be. It really is just to prove that you've got a genuine interest. So yeah, that was my experience with getting a working holiday visa. Um, it's not that hard. You just got to have a good hard think about the things you really want to see. Don't stress about the gaps like the guarantor or employment or having a plane ticket. When they say it's not important, well, they mean it. They gave me my visa. So hope that's been helpful to people. And yeah, good luck getting your visa. It's a good feeling when you get it in the mail. Mine was really fast. I got it. I applied on a Monday and I got it on Friday. So 皆さん頑張ってね。またね。